Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Gargaugust 2025. This is the beloved BookTube event created by Ollie at Criminali, designed to concentrate on trash, on trash reading, to put all your standards aside for one hot month and read garbage. Gargaugust has been enthusiastically embraced by readers all over the world since Ollie introduced it. I love the event, and I have to be careful when it comes to Gargaugust because I usually don't have what BookTube would refer to as a TBR. Going into the event, usually I am willing to let the winds of fate dictate what I will concentrate on. And that has led me in the various Gargaugusts in the past down some pretty strange pathways. It was Gargaugust that originally introduced me to tentacle fiction, for instance. And I did not exercise proper care yesterday when I was talking about the different types of garbage and mentioning Gargaugust 2025. I did not. I made that video to introduce the event, to tell you, to make my usual Jesuitical throat clearing about how garbage does actually exist. It's not just, some people say it is. There are bad books. It is. Literature is not the only human endeavor that is exempt from the fact that some people have more talent than others. I made the video mainly for that reason, and it was only in the comments that I got, in the comment section of the video and in emails, that I remembered how important such videos are in a broader sense, because quite a few of you don't watch. I don't know why you don't, but quite a few of you don't watch Ollie's channel. I had a feeling, I was just operating on an assumption that there's a huge swath of our little corner of BookTube that if they don't watch anybody else, watch Ollie, Michael K. Vaughan, and me. But quite a few of you said, oh, right, Gargaugust, I completely forgot. So you've missed the videos that other people have been making. So that was good. That was a good idea to do that, to remind you to subscribe to Ollie's channel, and also that Gargaugust is upon us. And I made a mistake in that video of reeling off various types of stuff that might claim me by the winds of fortune in Gargaugust. And one of the things I mentioned was something called Twinest, and one of you mentioned Twinest in the comments field, and I responded to that comment. That is all the algorithm needs. The algorithm is mindless, and it's AI-driven. So it sees that and thinks, oh, push that. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Now, I maybe naively, I want to resist this. I want to read a whole bunch of different kinds of trash for Gargaugust. Gargaugust is only a month long. It's always too short an event. I don't want to necessarily be locked down the rabbit hole of Twinest, but that's what happened with the algorithm last night. So that's how I'm going to kick off my Gargaugust. And I should define what I'm talking about here. This is Twinest is gay erotic fiction centering around twins. Usually, as far as I've been able to determine, male twins. Where there is no danger of inbreeding. There is no danger of incest is part of the coinage Twinest only because the brothers are related, not because of what we usually think of as the concomitant result of incest, which is inbreeding. That's not happening here, and so there's a kind of freedom. If you are free from, I can't believe I'm already down this path. Gargaugust has already worked its dark magic with me. If you are free, the taboo of incest, the taboo around incest, in large part, sociologically speaking, just evolutionarily speaking, came from the dangers of incest, from inbreeding. The taboo around it cemented in place because of that, just like handedness in humans has its birth in such a deep-seated sociological. The taboo around incest, in its evolutionary way back in the bygone era, in part arose from the dangers of inbreeding, that you would have unhealthy offspring. If you're not going to have any offspring, if you have shaken off the socio-political taboo or the religious execration of gay sex just in general, if you've shaken off that, if you don't see any problem with that, well then, when you think about gay brothers, the other taboo is going to go out the window too, because there can't be any inbreeding. There can't be any offspring. Unless you're in the MPreg universe, which, God forbid, as bad as the twincest rabbit hole would be, the MPreg universe would be even worse. Twincest is fiction celebrating twins hopping into bed with each other. And the MPreg universe is something else completely. That is usually gay fiction, in which there's a class of men who can get biologically pregnant from gay sex. So, I've encountered all this stuff through Gargaugust, but last night the algorithm served me up a classic. This is by Lynn Kelling, and it is My Brother's Lover. That title basically does duty for all of Twincest. Only this is a Twincest Puccini opera, because it deals with twins, Evan and Brennan, who did not know that they're long lost twins. They didn't know that each other existed until they are horny teenagers, when suddenly they are brought into contact with each other and feel, well, all sorts of kinds of attraction to each other. But at the same time, they're completely different young men. The author here is playing with the idea of sociological studies that have been done on identical twins and on fraternal twins, where if you separate fraternal twins or identical twins and you put them in completely different environments, will they end up being alike? Will they make similar decisions even though they don't know each other, don't have any contact with each other? The author here plays with that just a bit, because Evan and Brennan are very different. They're very different people. One is a bad boy, a stereotypical bad boy, and one is a good boy, hence the cover here. And they meet, in the course of this book, a second pair of twins, Alec and Luca. And Alec and Luca are also horny teenagers. They are also gorgeous. All four of these boys are gorgeous. But Alec and Luca, they love, the dating scene. Let's just call it euphemistically that. That's not the scene that they prowl, but we'll call it euphemistically the dating scene. They love the dating scene, but they aren't willing to let the uncertainties of the dating scene result in a dull night, if you know what I mean. And so, long since, Alec and Luca have discovered the pleasures, in this book, guilt-free pleasures, of rogering each other, in addition to all the other people they roger. And when Evan and Brennan meet these two, Evan falls for Alec, Brennan falls for Luca, and Evan and Brennan, in addition to falling for these other two twins, also start to think, hey, what they're doing to spice up an event-free evening, we could also do to spice up an event-free evening, so that by the end of this, the Venn diagrams were all over the place. The Venn diagrams themselves were sticky. Everybody was sleeping with everybody else by the end of this. And the who's on first, what's on second nature of the plot is clearly what puts this firmly in the garbage category. There was a moment towards the end of this book, especially with Brennan, there was a moment towards the end of this book where I was a little worried that despite the absolutely trash-tastic premise and execution, if you want to call it that, of this book, I was worried at the end for a moment that Lynn Kelling might make this better. It didn't seem possible to me. Of course, the absurd premise prevents it on the face of it. But then again, a one-legged man on a vengeance quest for a giant white whale is also an absurd premise. So I was worried for a minute that this was going to stop being garbage, which is a worry that we all face in Gargaugust. What happens if you're reading a piece of trash and it turns out to do something good? You'll want your money back. It's the only reading event of the entire year where you'll be disappointed if that happens. So, unfortunately, it doesn't. It doesn't happen in this book. Not because Lynn Kelly couldn't make it happen. Oddly enough, I know this has happened to some of you with the trash that you're reading. Oddly enough, I had the very strong impression, almost all throughout this book, that this author could have made it really good. If she'd wanted to, she could have. This, in other words, I think is an author who's in on the fun, the kind of thing we were talking about yesterday. I think this author's in on the fun. Not all this book is fun. There are dark elements involved, especially with Evan and Brennan. But still, I had a trash time with this book. And my one worry, for a moment, I worried that it was going to verge into good territory. It didn't. Or if it did, it stayed there so short a time that I wasn't really worried. My other worry has nothing to do with Lynn Kelly. She did a good job. This, My Brother's Lover, is everything you would expect from the plot that I just described. No, my other worry is that this is going to make the algorithm explode, so to speak, and that I'm going to be buried in Twinest books for Gargaugust 2025. I am already the unspoken king of tentacle fiction. When it started happening to me a couple of Gargaugusts ago, I leaned in to it. And as a result, I read a lot of tentacle fiction. A lot of it. I've even written some. I don't know that I want to go down that route with Twinest. I really don't. There's even a rumor that two of my siblings were twins. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to be. Of course, with any kind of algorithmic capture like this, there is a solution. Right? I could just walk away completely. I could read a Deathlands book. Or a Last Ranger book. That would solve the problem right there. I could do that. The solutions are at hand. I have plenty of actual trash on the iPad that isn't Twinest. But I don't know, something about the random chance of it, of just going where the winds, so to speak, blow you. Oh God. Something about that just appeals to me for Gargaugust. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So in other words, Criminale has succeeded in his dark plan. his event has already destroyed my moral compass. So I don't know what I'm doing for Gargaugust. But I read a Twinest book, not only a Twinest book, but a Twinest fest. Twins, no matter what room you're in, no matter what configuration you're in. So that was my Gargaugust. That's my first Gargaugust report of the month, and we will see what tonight brings. I will report back tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube. I think.